surefire tip for you to understand course management strategy and to play for, I think, what most people realize is going to be possible of a double miss. You could slice, fade it, hook, draw it. Even the tour pros are going to have a double miss at times. So you have to understand the variance of what is a shotgun dispersion, not a sniper rifle that tour pros are playing with out there. Okay? So we're on the first hole here at Plainfield Country Club. Follow me over here to the TV screen. 18 birdies, one of the golf stat tracking apps that gives you GPS and ability to score and track your hole by hole stats of greens and regulation, which is huge, total putts, and we'll call it driving accuracy instead of fairway. Okay? And the thing that can be really helpful in the idea of the maps is just a simple idea that we get from Scott Fawcett and decade of the grid that tour pros will use to get you to understand how they look at each hole and the decision of where to start the ball to play for that miss on either side that they have. About a 72-yard wide dispersion is what they're looking for. So about 36-ish yards on either side. For average players, get 20, 30 plus yards on either side would be a good way to look at. You could miss it that way on either side. And eventually we'll favor towards your pattern a little bit to get a little better at a pattern. But we want to make sure you look at that dispersion on either side of the hole. So we look here, we zoom in on the first hole. If we go a dead center aim, it does bring in a slight 10%-ish, 50%-ish chance of putting the ball closer to the out of bounds, the trees, the mansions, and being blocked out on this hole. All right? And if we just change our aim just the slightest bit to the left, now we more make the center of that bunker and that left side of the fairway where we try to start the ball, whether we draw it or fade it on a miss, as long as we get a relatively good shot. Better to favor the left side of the hole because we take out that tree. These trees, you have more chance of actually getting the ball, still a shot at the green, and having the left side of the course is wide open. You can go as far left as you want. Can't go that far right on that hole. So players always need to learn to play more corners of hole. So here we go. Let's do a little experiment, try. Instead of keeping it dead down the center, so I hit two, then I started just a hair off the center, so I moved the screen just the tiniest bit off to this left side. Right? This would be dead center, I just moved it there. I'm trying to start this ball just a hair left of the flag. Fade or draw, it started right in the center of that bunker, stayed right on that line. Stay right up that left side, beautiful. Right? Keeping it up that left side right there gives me a little better angle of flag. Oh, well, I missed the fairway. Well, how far did I hit that one? 299. All right? So I want you to understand that you're trying to control a shotgun dispersion for everybody. All right? You don't need to hit it dead straight. That ball had some curve onto it. Had a little bit of a fade starting up the left side there. Could have drawn it still, maybe would have hugged that left corner just fine. Maybe more in the rough. Still would have been in play. You have to think of if you took like 100 shots, how many would end up in bad areas of penalty? Whereas if you can just aim in an area always on every single hole where it allows for that grid that I'm showing you here, which all I did was screenshot those photos off the app and just use the edit feature with my finger. I even use like a Vice actual sleeve of balls to draw the lines with the edit feature on your iPhones, all your smartphones nowadays. Made it real simple just to get you the idea of the grid and the range that you can look for in any hole to make it easier to make decisions, and even depth of that grid. We can get further in detail in terms of how Scott Fawcett really gets one of the best programs out there that all the pros follow. And I think it's just so simple to look at on 18 birdies and your GPS apps. Just real quick, look at a hole, do that little grid right there, and look at if I go that side, left corner, or right corner, which is better? Can I keep it in the center? Some holes you might be able to, but I want you to understand that's just simple strategy. You still got to execute and hit a ball 300 yards like I just did. Like, follow, share, comment, ask any questions that you have. I hope this helps a lot of students. I was trying to talk to a player about this today. He just kept wanting to aim it more down the middle. And I'm like, yeah, but not 10% of shots might end up to 20% of shots on the hole at 9 at Hyatt. into the parking lot, into the bad tree on the left, or if he just kept it up the right corner, now 100% of his shot in his grid would make sure he'd have a shot at the green. But he's like, well, then it would be off on one possibly, and blah, blah, blah. And some people just can't handle the idea that they could hit onto another hole and that's not okay or something. And I'm like, of course it is. As long as you have a shot at the green, you can definitely favor towards another hole that is side by side. 9 here is way more playable than out of bounds here, right? Makes sense. Go get him. Let's go. I gotta look at the Yankee game now. See what's happening.